Hello, everyone. Welcome back to VIVIDEARTH. Today, I've got a fellow South African with me, Amanda Gifford. She's a drama
Therapist.
therapist and a family constellations practitioner. But Amanda, I can't do it justice. Give us a bit of background on what you do and how you got to this point in your life. And yeah.
Hello, Anina. It's so nice to meet you. I've heard wonderful things about you, and I've also, um, just been watching some of your channel, and you've got a very wonderful channel. So it's lovely to be on it with you.
Thank you.
Um, so yeah, I'm a drama therapist. Um, Many years ago, I didn't know what to study. I went to Cape Town University and I was sitting in the religious studies class, and someone said to me, no, yeah, I was at UCT doing a BA, and someone said to me, no, no, you must come to the drama class rather. So I ended up there in the drama class, and I found it so healing. There was something about it that was just, it sort of helped me out of my shell. It got me into my body. It got a little bit of creativity going. And, um, and then there were a whole lot of people that became interested in this field, which is like the therapeutic application of drama.
Mm.
But there was nothing in this country. So this sort of group of about 7 people went to different places to study overseas and bring the training back, and then slowly developed the field. So I'm one of the pioneers of drama therapy.
Wow.
And then when I got back to South Africa, of course there was no where to go to find peers or mentorship or anything because we were the first. So we were like a small group of us, like orphans here. And but what I did manage to find was family constellations. And there was a 2-year training module that with international therapists that were coming over to South Africa. And so I joined that and did another 2-year training and then another one after that. And that was amazing. So that really, it almost became my speciality. So I've been doing it a long time. And I'll tell you all about it because it's an
Mm.
amazing modality.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. I was once part of a family constellation, not for me, but I was supporting, and it was my
Oh,
first
nice.
time. I didn't quite know what to expect, and I was like, wow. And I was just amazed. I played one of the characters, one of the family members, and I
Hmm.
was just amazed because it just like flowed through me, and I became this other person that
I know.
catalyzed a lot of change for the person we were doing it for. And
Wow.
it was yeah, it was quite an eye opener for me. I really understood, what it really could do. But maybe you can, in a bit more detail, give us an overview. I'm sure most people are aware, but for those that are not, just give us a little overview of how does family constellations work?
Sure. So, there was a guy called Bert Hellinger who came over from Germany in the 50s, I think it
Mm.
was.
I heard
And
about him in that session. They were speaking about him, so
yeah,
I know the
and
background.
he kind of came out with this idea of bringing sort of religion, Christianity to South Africa. And he ended up studying with the Zulus in KZN and studying for about 17 years with the Sangomas. And he sort of, in a way, mixed it. He hybridized it with some of the European psychologies and stuff like that that were going on at the time. So it's a mix of sort of African traditional wisdom, specifically some of the Sangoma work, with some of the, things like phenomenology and existentialism that was happening in Europe. So it's this lovely mix of, quite, it's very much using embodiment to access information that they call the knowing field in family constellations, but it's something that we can all do. You know, it's like tapping into the sea of consciousness that we're living in. And it is like the way that you described. It's, you know, people surprise themselves. You don't have to do a lot. You just get given a role, or you get to represent someone in the family tree, say, for example, of a client. And the next thing you know, you've got information coming through about them. They might even not be alive anymore. So you can do work with ancestral lineages.
So just
Yeah.
to explain to people that don't know, so this is about healing ancestral trauma passed through the ancestral lines. You know, often you will be given a family member, there will be a soul contract because something needs to be resolved. Your soul needed to learn a certain lesson. So maybe your father reincarnated with a soul contract to be very authoritative or whatever, to heal something within you that is not perhaps even from this lifetime. So it could be, as you say, going back in the family tree or current situation, healing issues within that family dynamic. Yeah, I mean, that's just what I know. But I just wanted to add that for people who don't know exactly what does it do, what happens. You know, often you'll feel
Yeah.
you're in a family, but there's these family dynamics that you don't know where it's coming from. It's not conscious. Nobody did something that resulted in that person perhaps treating you in a certain way. So it's often very, very complex and convoluted. So family constellations kind of teases that out and get to the root of where it actually comes from, right? Am I accurate?
Yeah, that's right. So you can surface unconscious dynamics in the family system and make it more conscious, and then bring yourself into a more conscious relationship with what's happening. There's a lot of different ways to use family constellations in a healing way. You know, so, like, for example, if you're working with someone who's not alive anymore, you can, because of this knowing field or this field of consciousness, you can actually access the soul of that person. So it's almost like a crossing over between the space of the living and the dead. You can actually have a way to sort of channel that information live time, you could say. And people amazingly have like a huge reconciliation. Sometimes they get to have conversations with someone that there might have been unfinished business. There are so many ways. I mean, I've been doing it for 20 years now, and it's there's a lot of healing, and a lot of, it's not only just healing lineages, it's also like you can do playful things as well. You can do, like the other day I did a constellation where, I don't know if you've heard of the telepathy tapes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was interested in visiting the hill, which, for people that haven't listened to the telepathy tapes yet, there's a place where uh, they've discovered that autistic children that are non-speaking are highly telepathic. And if you get them to learn this special, what is it called? What do they call it? It's not typing. Can you remember? And you know what they
Driving
call it?
or
It's
yeah,
like a
I know what
special
you're
kind
talking
of
about.
communication through typing.
Yeah. They use a letter board sometimes where they literally have
Yes.
little letters that
Yeah,
move
they've
around.
started to teach these kids how to, and they're finding, like next level telepathy. But apparently these kids have got a telepathic meeting place called the Hill. And it's not just for people with autism or neurodivergence. It's a meeting place for
Anyone can
people
tap
with.
into it if they,
Yes, exactly.
yeah.
So I did a constellation of the hill the other day with some friends, and it was such an amazing experience.
Wow.
Yeah. So, because once you can access the field of knowingness, it's actually like wherever you put your attention, you can tap into that wisdom.
Hmm.
So, like for example, I
That would
know
be
that
really
you,
interesting. Wow.
yeah, I mean that's the power of the subconscious, and that's, the subconscious mind accesses like super consciousness, you could say.
Mm. The field.
Yeah, the field, exactly. And I know you went to visit Adam's calendar the other day.
Yes, yes, and that's actually how we connected as well, because I was told I should connect with you, and we're actually taking people back there. I'm taking a group there on the 4th of
Yeah.
January.
How was it? How was it for you, the
It was
calendar?
really, yeah, I mean, obviously the information and the wisdom shared was quite incredible. Um, but I think, there's a certain time I've noticed in recent months and weeks, people are being drawn more so than ever to sacred lands and spaces
Mm,
to activate some sort of remembrance, to tap into other parts of
definitely.
ourselves, other dimensions, other lives. And that opens something magnificent up, because you realize that I think you become more of that neutral observer that we all wish to be, which is, looking at this life from a vantage point saying, well, this is not all I am, my soul is much more than this. And you're able to contextualize situations better and not be so deeply entrenched in the emotion of it, sometimes. So for me, Adam's calendar is like a remembrance, like we tapping into other lives, and realizing that we have all these untapped powers, gifts that we have doubted for the longest time, perhaps. It makes it more
Yeah.
tangible and more, you connect with that field in a way. I mean, the frequency of that place is incredible.
Mm,
It was a very
yeah, it
special
is.
experience.
And I mean, there's so much, like you say, there's so much remembering to do. And it sort of, it really widens the field of who we think we are, and trying to understand, put together ancient ancestry. So, I mean, as much as I do say traditional constellations, which is working with the family tree and sort of like unconscious loyalties and stuff like that that might be happening in a family. And we can talk a bit more about traditional constellations, but I just want to say there's also, very much like applied constellations, which is
Mm.
using it to tap into other greater systems. Like you could say, the Anunnaki relating to the calendar are, ancient ancestors in a sense.
Yeah.
And you can actually use constellations to access their consciousness as well, and have, first-hand
Wow.
and communication with anybody.
That's
So yeah,
incredible.
it's a
So it's a
really
bit like
exciting.
channeling.
Yeah, it's the same as channeling, really.
Mm.
You're using our brain's ability to tap into, the non-local universe.
Mm.
Yeah,
Wow, that's incredible. That opens up a whole new chapter that I didn't consider for family
I know.
constellations. And do you do like these sessions? Can you do them over Zoom as well?
Yeah, I do Zoom sessions, which is fun, because then it connects people anywhere and everywhere.
Mm.
And you can do in person and on site.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been fun.
the one I was part of was very, very physical. I mean, literally people were like
Hmm.
moving around on the ground and moving in different positions. So it was very physical, the experience. And we were obviously sitting in a circle, but then certain people moved and sitting and, but I imagine Zoom becomes, yeah, more of a kind of, the mind goes into a different, or goes into the field and fetches information that it needs for this experience. And the fact that you there to facilitate it makes it quite interesting. So people don't have to like be left on their own to think, oh, how am I going to do this? And so there's this guidance that is there.
Yeah, there's guidance. Yeah. And I mean, it would actually be quite fun maybe on your channel to organize a live online constellation and give people an experience of
Yeah.
constellating something, like even Galactic Family, for example, is,
Yes.
you know, really an interesting thing. So you choose people to represent certain aspects that you want to tap into. And then, yeah, I facilitate how to hold that. And if people want to, they actually get up behind their camera and move in directions, and sort of it helps to the embodiment piece,
Mm.
because the embodiment, basically our body is like an antenna for tapping the subconscious mind.
Mm.
It's really great for picking up, deeper signals in a sense.
That could be really fun. I think we should set that up.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We can do something together for sure. Yeah, I
Now,
don't know. I've sort of jumped around a bit. I don't know if you want any other information about constellations or
yeah, so what I wanted to ask is obviously this bird is a Bert Hellinger. Right? He brought it to
yeah.
South Africa. I'm wondering for my American and Canadian audience and all the others, but specifically I've got seem to have a large US and American audience, how commonly known it is over there, if he's brought it to the US as well. What do you know about the history and where
Yeah,
it's
it's
available?
everywhere. It's all over the world. It's very it's gone all over. So it doesn't really matter which country, and everybody knows about it.
Mm,
And a lot of people, if they're in the alternative field, have probably just touched the sides of the community.
mm.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. So just to kind of anchor that in for people. So um, describe what that experience would look like. And let's not use the family scenario. Let's actually use perhaps the galactic family scenario.
Hmm.
Would it be focused around one person or a group effort, or how would you structure something like that? I'm just curious.
Um, so if we were doing a constellation like for the calendar, for example, could use that for fun. Um, so normally I work with one person. One person comes forward and says, okay, they would like to constellate something. So they are the constellator, and then if there are other people in the space, then they become what's called the representatives.
Okay. So
And
it's
then
quite similar to the it's basically one person that becomes the
yeah, the focus. So we're
key
tuning into
player.
their field, focusing on their what it is that they want to look into or, experience. So then whoever else is there, we choose, okay, what is it that you'd like to know about? What is it that you'd like to look into? And then they'd give a situation, and we'd choose representatives to each person would represent something that we are interested in inquiring into. And then it's like the sense of sort of using your intuition. To the person that's doing the constellation places those representatives in relationship to each other, even if it's like galactic family, for example. Like I've done, as I said, I've done some quite out there ones. And then those people start to tap into what it is that they're picking up. It doesn't take very long, and information starts coming through. And it's an
Quite a
amazing
dynamic thing, I
experience.
would imagine. It kind of just evolves into what it needs to
Very.
evolve to, whatever
Yeah,
information
it's like
needs to
a
come.
living field. It's a living field. And then, the training, for example, is how to work with what's coming through to bring it into alignment and flow, into a field of love, essentially. Um, because as we know, the work with Annunaki has not you know, it wasn't all wonderful, the
Yeah.
relationship to our
Yeah.
so-called greater parents.
Yeah. They pretty much dumbed us down a little bit. So, but we know that they are good and bad and, everything in between in that, in
Yeah.
Annunaki as
So
well.
Enlil, you know that there were three. So it was Enki, Enlil, and their sister. I don't know if you've heard about the sister. So she was actually like
Not
her
talking about
name was
Inanna because she's actually
no
not.
Ninasag or
Okay.
Mami. I don't know if she reincarnated as Inanna later down the line. She was Isis again at one point.
Mm,
So Genesis, genes of Isis. Don't know if you
mm,
know that.
yes.
Um, but yeah, Enki was supposedly the benevolent one, and Enlil was the one that was sort of, not very nice
Not very
and
kind to humanity.
not very
The
kind,
slave
very
race that we
jealous,
were
hated
supposed to.
women, hated his sister. So the sister, Mami, was actually like the mother of the human body, the hybrid body that they were making at that time. And it's one of the reasons why, where we got the word mummy from
Mm,
her.
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And in
And
fact, in the African culture, they call you mummy, mammy, right? Or I don't know. They always call me mommy. I'm like, I'm not your mummy, but they like to call slightly older women. I wouldn't say old women. They like to call them mummy. That's interesting.
sorry, you just went frozen there for a minute. I'm not sure if it was my side or your side, but
Oh, okay.
I heard a little bit of that.
Yeah, no, it just rang a bell for me.
Yeah. So,
African
and there's a
culture.
whole link.
No, they often,
There's a whole link with,
yeah, go for it.
yeah, you can go.
No, I was just going to say in the
There's a
African culture,
link
like,
with,
I think we have a bit of a delay. So we're speaking over each other. I'm going to let you speak.
yeah. Okay. What I was saying is the link to Mami, um, is also the missing link in a way to the feminine and the fact that humanity was hybridized in Africa and Africa became Mama Africa. So who was the mother of Mama Africa? Which is an interesting question to explore because, I mean, that's why I think like the feminine aspect of the calendar is a missing piece. And I
Mm,
think it's actually quite important for people to know who was the feminine influence because she's sort of forgotten.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, going into the Anunnaki family tree is like a tangled bowl of spaghetti.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I think it's very convoluted, and you hear this version and that version, and what is the truth? Nobody's actually pinned this story down so we can completely understand because there's so much interference in the story and it's been adapted over time. That's why
Yeah,
actually a family constellation around that would be really interesting because then you just get the information from the field, hopefully as pure as possible.
yeah, no, absolutely. It could be a lot of fun and quite out there because it's half a million years worth of history, that
Yeah.
story. And yeah, they're definitely part of our ancestry. Yeah, it's very empowering to, I guess, start to try and sort out our galactic roots in a way. I think it's quite an important thing.
Mm, very, very. I think, yeah, I feel also the time is now, and the calendar is also connecting with certain celestial alignments. So that was always part and parcel of, the existence or the creation or the hybridization of humans on Earth. We just kind of lost connection with that, And we follow astrology, but we're only really starting to now tapping into our galactic history and I've been fascinated about galactic astrology lately and, finding out
Mm.
where am I from and where are the influences, from different star systems, because let's face it, we're not just this or that. perhaps you can call yourself, I don't know, an Arcturian because that's where you spent most time on, but you also were on other planets. So
Yeah,
it's interesting finding that roadmap and seeing how it actually reflects in your life now, and then understanding your
definitely.
role and your character a little bit better, because we chose this character, and sometimes you're like, oh, I'm kind of a strange person. I don't know why, but it's like, okay, that makes sense. I'm perhaps a little bit ahead of my time. People don't understand me because of this, that, and the other in terms of galactic connections. So it just makes a
Yeah,
lot
but
of
it's
sense.
very important, you know. I mean, I've been listening. I went off Gaia TV for a long time,
Mm.
and I've been back on, and I've just found this guy, Tim. He just calls himself Tim, Tactical Tim or
Yes,
whatever.
yes, I know Tim. Mm.
Do you know him?
Yeah,
He's
he's been on Gaia
fantastic.
for a long time.
Yeah, so I've missed out on all of that. I've only just found him now, and I've
But that was
going
years
through.
ago. I also tuned out in the
Yeah,
meantime.
I got really sick. I was over, yeah, for years. So I was off all of that. But just catching up on everything, I'm just, realizing more than ever before, like should be living in our full galactic, we should be living in our full galactic neighborhood instead of this completely isolated
Yeah.
situation. We shouldn't be in this sort of what do they call it, like travel embargo, he calls it. And no, I don't want that anymore.
I also believe that if you tap into your other galactic origins and lives, it's like all of these soul fractals start coming in into your body
Definitely they
more.
do. Yeah,
Become more of
like
a
reorganizes your field, so that and the signal from your field reorganizes your DNA, so you can actually
mm,
bring all the inactive DNA back online by doing
mm,
that kind of expanded work. And I even did a do you know what a CE5 is?
mm,
So it's conscious contact, like an invitation for
yes.
contact. I did that at Adam's calendar.
Mm,
And we got full flybys, big craft, low, you know. So those are
amazing.
other fun things to do. And I did it through constellation technology. So I got people to choose which, you know, um, star family in a way they'd want to tap into. And then we did that. So I said, okay, you are the Syrian being, and someone else is something else, Andromeda, this and that. And then they went into that experience as if that is who they were. And then shortly, within half an hour, we had these ships showing up.
Hmm. Was this at
So
night?
yeah,
Was this at
yeah, it was. Yeah, it was at night.
hmm.
Yeah,
Because
it
I
was
wanted to go
exciting.
there at night as well, but um, it's apparently quite cold.
Yeah,
It's
in
not the best.
winter, it's very, very cold. I actually did a constellation with a group at the calendar on winter solstice once, and it was so freezing, and the fog came in around the stones so that
Oh
we
wow.
couldn't, right there at the stones, couldn't see anything.
Wow.
Because often there's the mists as well that come in, the
Mm,
mystical mists of the in between.
mm. Very, very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, that's so awesome. So yeah, I feel like activating DNA is one of the things that we can do at Adam's calendar, right? Because you do tap into energies. I mean, the just the frequency in that area alone, was it something like, and I don't know if he made a mistake, the guide, but he said 300,000 gigahertz. That sounds a little bit much, but it
Oh,
managed to
wow.
crash a small plane once because they were just, their navigation was going crazy and they just crashed. The pilot.
Yeah, that's how Johann Heine found the site originally.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, so his because there's like a vortex there.
Yes.
And if you take if you take a phone or something into the center of those two stones, or a compass, there's no direction. It's just 0 point in the center. So, yeah, and there's a lot of lovely things. Like I did a lot of work with a calendar, exploring sort of energetically, like it goes underground as well. It's not just what's on the surface. And also I don't know if you've done much work with Credo Mutwa and what he
I love
said
him.
about the stones. Yeah, so he calls them Inkanyezi, which is the stones from the stars. And he and the Zulus used to use that area as a sacred initiation. So he said it's created as female anatomy. So it's actually like a birth portal. So you come in, I don't know if it's at the south. Can't remember the directions at the moment. And then you move through this labyrinth into this sort of inception
vessel
energy. So
he was initiated there as well.
Yeah. So there's it's a stargate, Adam's calendar. I think it's the 12th stargate on the planet. And it links to this Australian stargate. Ayers Rock, is it? That's the 13th portal.
And it also lines up with the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Great Zimbabwe, the big stones, the ruins there.
Yeah, the Noetic line.
Yeah, so we're still unraveling, the strategy behind this stone circle. I think there's so much more that we have to unpack around that, that we don't know. We're just making assumptions because we can see the alignment, but why and how did it work? And there's multiple meanings and functionalities around the stone circle. Yes, fertility and other things, but as you said, it's also a portal. Was this a stargate where they access their home planet, the Anunnaki?
Yeah, and also where souls came in to incarnate, all sorts of things. Yeah, it's an exciting place to be going to.
And it's interesting because, some people just know they have to come. Like I was a bit concerned because it was very short notice because I have a friend that's going back to Europe that really wanted to come, but she was leaving at a certain time. So I was like, okay, let me see if I can get enough people together. And some people were just like, well, I can't really go, but I'm going to move things around because I know I have to go. I just know I have to go. So some people just know in their heart that this is the moment. They have to go. They don't know why, but this is going to do something. This is going to activate them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of energy in the land, in the stones, in the circle, and ancient memories and all sorts of things. So yeah, it's like like a coming full circle kind of thing. The awakening of the fact that the Garden of Eden might be slightly different from what we thought it was, and sort of reigniting this Genesis, idea. I mean, I've known about that through my spiritual school for a long time. Like I was told about the Anunnaki at least 20 years ago or more, and maybe 24 years ago. And it just blew my mind, this whole idea of, like an advanced race working with the genes of humanity. And it wasn't just the Anunnaki. The Genesis project went on for a long time. And it's still going on. We're still in the middle of Genesis. We are doing a lot of work at the moment with our own genes and our own consciousness to like bring ourselves to the next level upgrade.
Yeah.
So,
Unlock our dormant DNA, so to speak, that has been kept. And I think we are the greatest experiment of the entire universe, and to show that we can organically transcend through the limitations that were put upon us as a species. And yes, so supposedly, we are seeded by the 23 races. So the Anunnaki just being one of them, and at that point, obviously trying to dumb us down a little bit so that we good obedient slaves that are just smart enough to know what to do, but not smart enough to transcend that slave state. But
yeah, I think that was one agenda, but apparently the agendas similar to what we see today on Earth. It's like competing agendas. So the same thing was even back then, there was like benevolent agendas that just wanted the best, and others that wanted, this sort of slave race to mine for gold, for example. And so we go on this crazy, crazy planet.
Yeah, and we're about to make a big breakthrough, I think, as a species. So such an exciting time to be alive, and we chose to be at this time to liberate the species. And I think it's actually a perfect thing doing family constellations with Anunnaki, because there's
Yeah,
so many issues within that part of our family line, you could say, because it's
yeah.
we all have Anunnaki within us, and
Issues, yeah.
to resolve whatever went
The
on.
original abandonment, the original
Yeah,
abuse, the original a lot of things,
yeah.
the original wounds.
To be
Yeah.
able to transcend that wounding because it's still present, I think that is a very, very important thing to do.
Yeah, I think we are moving it. We are definitely moving it. When we realize that, we are God too, we are divine beings, completely 100% responsible for our reality, and we can create it. Um, and then to start practicing that is an important piece of the puzzle.
Mm, absolutely. Wow, how exciting. So it's
Yeah,
amazing how our life story just brings us to a certain point. You choosing at that moment drama just kind of push you in the right direction for what you were eventually to do, because at that
yeah,
stage it wasn't, that wasn't even a thing that you could consider. So drama was the entry point, or drama therapy was the entry point into that family constellations uh, direction that you were supposed to follow. So it's amazing just to look at people's life stories and see how it all fits together,
yeah,
you
yeah.
chose a certain path.
Yeah, it is interesting. Oh, it'd be nice to maybe we should collaborate on a workshop or something sometime and
Mm,
go together to the calendar and put our join our forces. And because the more work that I'm doing at the moment, I'm also doing using working with a friend of mine who has brought in downloaded a whole lot of sort of new faces of the goddess. She sees these goddesses, she draws them so beautifully, and they've all got healing qualities, but it's nothing like, any of the other goddesses that you can find anywhere else.
mm,
And I've been doing constellations with these goddesses recently, and they've been absolutely amazing. Um, And what I've noticed is that it's almost like people are going in brand new directions on the planet. I think it's with this new Aquarian energy, the Aquarian age that started. It's like there's this brand new something.
mm. I think it's
Most
also
people,
it's a safe time for the divine feminine to fully come in. So beyond those, as you said, the goddesses and the from history that we know, this is a time where, okay, the divine feminine is alive and well and coming through. And a lot of people also connect them with the dragons who are also currently coming through. It's like, okay, they are ready. We're going to start just coming through and make our presence known and see where we can also heal and activate that divine feminine, not just within women, but men as well, because we all have divine feminine and masculine within us. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting linked to Africa. And I think that's why people feel called to say, for example, an activation at the calendar is because there is something about that being a stargate, a birth portal, and and then we've got like the cradle, which is nearby. So it's like Mama Africa, the birth portal, and the cradle. So South Africa has quite an important part in this rebirthing, regenesis.
absolutely, it's like we've come full circle now. We're ready to
Yeah.
birth a new human species. Some people call it Homo luminous, or which
Yeah, so be it. I'm all for it.
absolutely, bring it on. We are ready.
Homo Galacticus Luminous.
Absolutely. It's so exciting. We were always told, oh, you're insignificant, and you're born and then you die, and that's kind of it. And you don't really have a significant role on this planet. And to know that we have all this galactic history, and that we also chose to be at this time to heal the planet and to enlighten, to help and awaken the planet. That just brings a different level, not of ego, but of inspired purpose to us, I think, which is very important during this time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anyway, there's so much to chat about, but maybe we should just, leave it at that for this interview, and we can pick it
Yeah,
up
for
at
sure.
another time, because I'm sure we could, do like talk for hours on certain topics. There's a lot of beautiful, beautiful things that are going on, exciting things.
Yeah, we can definitely see where to take it from here. There's so many exciting directions. So that was super interesting. Thank you, Amanda. We just kind of let this organically flow, which is what I love, and I think you love
Yeah,
too.
it's interesting, the link. I mean, just think about it. So constellations, where did they even get that word?
Yeah,
And now we are linking up to patterning and sort of formations in the stars, and linking up to greater history. So family constellations and the stars somehow probably had its origins like that.
yes. It's not called constellations by accident.
For
It's that
nothing.
way. Yeah,
Yeah.
very exciting.
Anyway, I wish you well for your trip to the calendar, and maybe we'll
Thank you.
do one together sometime.
Yeah, this won't be the last one, I'm sure.
Definitely.
Amanda, where can people find you or find out more about you?
You can go to my website, amandagifford.co.za. Otherwise, Instagram is fine. So I think it's Gifford Amanda, Gifford.Amanda.
Okay, awesome. I'll
Those
put
are
the
two
links below.
places.
I'll put the links in
Lovely.
the show notes so people can just follow that and go and check out Amanda's work. Amazing stuff that she's doing. And
Thank you.
yeah, we will definitely do this again and see where it takes us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amanda.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed that conversation. I thought it was fascinating, and it's something that can just, go in so many different directions in the future. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. And remember to like and share so we can get this information out. And we'll definitely keep you guys posted on the online Zoom workshop and see where it takes us. But it certainly has very, very interesting possibilities around it. So we're back on YouTube, as you know. And so, but shadow banning is a real thing. So please make sure you like and subscribe, that you share this channel, and that you subscribe to our Rumble channel, please. So if I do disappear again, you can find me there. And of course, Telegram as well, which is where we share daily news and inspiration. So remember to subscribe there as well. So all the links are below. And if you want to join our online community, our 5D Mastery community, we meet every second Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. South African Standard Time. And it's a wonderful, small, intimate community of really switched on, awake people with their own gifts. And we just share information. We've got themes normally that we speak about. And it's all about our spiritual evolution and raising our frequency and sharing ideas and, getting questions answered as well. People are really needing a few answers on, they're confused as to what's going on around them in the world. That is a great sort of community portal. So if you want to join that, the link is below as well. You can find all that information on my website as well, vividearth.org. And if you want to subscribe to our newsletter so we can keep you posted on any events and interesting things happening, you can just go on to the website and you'll see the little box pop up. You just put in your email address and you subscribe. We don't send a lot of newsletters, so we won't spam you. Anyway, guys, I'm glad I could share this today. And as I said, hold the line, hold the light. And we've got exciting things ahead of us. So keep this energy going. Get yourself prepared for the solstice portal on the 20th, 21st of June, which is in a few days, 3 days, depending on where you are in the world. And this is going to be a very, very important portal to birth a whole new era for us around the earth. So we have to use that opportunity, connect, raise our frequency, send, healing to the planet and amplify whatever energy and intentions we hold. So in that sense, it can be very powerful. So do it for yourself, do it for the collective, do it for the planet, prepare yourself, be still, spend some quiet time every day, just imagining what you want to amplify around you and on the planet right now. Things are looking crazy, but I guarantee you it's all heading for a very, very beautiful new beginning. The dawn of new earth is being birthed as we speak. So hold the line, hold the light, and I will speak to you very soon. Lots of love.